water. Was it food? He didn't want food. Do you want to ease yourself? Because he could hear me. And he just got tired and he shook his head and he just lay back. And this man could not sit. He was just there. He couldn't sit well. He was bending, and see him like that was very difficult. It was very, very difficult. I was going to Igbo Road, like Bata side, that's Igbo Road side in Bata. And instead of me to enter keke because I was tired and I needed to be fast so that he could eat something, I trekked. I passed Singer. I was going to Bello Road.
What? Opposite.
I was going to Bello Road. I was just walking. I forgot. I was just walking and it was a vehicle that halted and shouted. That was when I got myself back. And I stood and I looked around, trying to... Where am I? I told him, okay, I'll talk to my elder ones. And my elder ones were... This one is saying they should take him to the village and get treatment in the village. Somebody we took from hospital to another hospital that was throwing up want us to take him from the north to the south.
The distance.
Yes. And you are not the one that will take him. It's the woman that has gone through a lot within 3 weeks. Still warm. And I don't know if it was my mind. I was feeling like it was moving. But I think it was my mind. So I placed my hand on his chest. And I was there from around 7 till 8:30. And the rooms were locked. Nobody knew that anybody was inside. Yes. Because everywhere was crowded. My friends were there, my younger ones' friends were there, the neighbors were there, relatives were already there, family friends. So I might be just inside the crowd. They did not know that I was still inside the room. And it was cold. The room was becoming very cold. And I was still there. He's my dad.
Yeah.
And then I knew that I actually loved this man. And I was there waiting for his heart to beat until one of his hands that were on his tummy, I now wanted to stretch it, and I realized that it was already stiff. That's when I knew that, okay,
Reality done.
this one is actually dead.
Welcome back to the live podcast. It's your safe space. I am Happy Oni, your host. And with me here is Mercy Jumbo.
Hi.
So on this platform, like, you know, we always share stories. We talk about different things that has to do with life and living. And today, still on the topic, untold stories of healing, of loss and healing. Mercy today has an amazing story to share with us. So please stay tuned and let's dive right into it. So Mercy,
Yes.
welcome.
Thank you.
I know you feel yourself. You're not my guest.
For today, Shan.
Anyways, you have an interesting story.
Yeah.
I would like you to share with us. As far as you can remember, way back. Please, let's go.
All right. Today I would want to talk about my experience with, how I got to handle the loss of some persons I love, still love, and how it got to me, how I am now, and how it has been. All right.
First of all, how many people have you lost?
All right. Family member 2, a
Okay.
friend.
And a friend?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I often hear people say, I lost this person died. Although, yes, I feel bad for them, but the did not really know what it really means or what it meant to lose someone.
Someone dear to you.
Yes. I don't know how it felt as of before 3 years ago.
Okay.
So fast backward to 3 years ago, 2021, I was in school, level 3, first semester at that time, when I heard that my uncle was sick.
Your paternal or maternal?
No, maternal.
Okay.
When I heard that my uncle was sick, and they said he had kidney failure, both kidney.
Wow.
I don't know how 2 kidney got malfunction at the same time, but that was the case. So he was sick for a while, and they were all looking for how it could be treated, prayers and all of that. And then I was writing exam. And this uncle is not just like all other uncles that you just know you have an uncle somewhere. We know him to a large extent, and
you were very close.
Not very close per se, but yes, to an extent we were close, because when we were in our hometown during that insurgents issue in the north, we had to go back to our hometown, and he was one person that always comes to visit. He comes to visit, he brings plantain and all of that.
So it was one of those uncles that
shows up. Yes, he showed up, and he was close to us. And my mom and her sister, they were just 3. Okay. She and 2 boys, 2 men now. So he was sick, and that day I was called and I was told that he died. Yeah. It was very painful. It hit me differently because he was the youngest of the 3 of them. And he had 4 young children. And that was on the 3rd of March, 2021.
How old was the oldest at the time?
That's my mom.
No, I mean his children.
His children. Okay, he should be 16.
Okay, at the time.
At that time. 16, 15, 16. And he had younger ones. So, and he was the only one that was striving. He went to school among the 3 of them. He went to school. He got married first. No, he didn't get married first, but he was the first to do a church wedding.
Okay, you mean your uncle?
Yes,
okay.
He was the first to do most things that wasn't done in the family.
He broke.
Yes, and he was pushing to do more. So it was so painful that he had to die at that age. He was less than 50 when he died. So I felt really bad by that. And I was writing my exams. It was hard to concentrate. And that was the first time I lost my appetite for food. It was very difficult. No matter what I'm going through, I always have appetite to eat. But that time I lost my appetite, and I began to question God. Like, why would this happen? Why him? Why? They are just 3. Why would this one die? How is my mom feeling? How is she taking it? And all of that. I never knew that there was going to be more ahead. 2 weeks later, my mom went for the burial. They had him buried. And she came back. I was done with my exams. I came back home. And when I came back home, my mom had just returned. She returned 2 days after. No, I returned home 2 days after my mom came back to Kano. Okay. Yes. She traveled when he died on the 3rd. I think 5th, 6th, she traveled for his burial, because there was no much preparation because he was young. So they had him buried, I think a week or 2 weeks after his death. And she got back before 15th. She was back. And I got back home, I think, on the 16th.
Okay.
And then this Thursday night, everybody have moved on, trying to be fine and all. We're all talking at home, gisting. My dad was in a good mood that day. Sometimes he's not always in a good mood. So he was in a good mood that day, and he was sharing stories with us about family, extended family, village culture and all of that. And he asked me to iron his clothes. He was supposed to go to church the next day.
Okay.
which was Friday.
Okay.
And he likes me ironing his clothes because he's this perfectionist, and if you iron his clothes and the trouser has to get up, he's going to complain. So I used to be
So
the
you
one.
were the professional.
Yes. So I ironed that dress that day, and he went to take his bath that night. We all decided to go to sleep because it was late. And I heard my mom scream. And my mom is not someone that just shouts or gets scared. She can see something dangerous and she won't just scream just like that. And when she screamed for help, she was shouting, "Help me." I went into her room and then I saw my dad quiet. His mouth was stiff. His teeth were stiff together. And he was falling on the ground. So when I got in, I helped her to hold him. And we ran to our neighbor, the next compound. We ran for help. To call him for help. And we were praying. And my dad was saying amen, amen. And as he was saying amen, suddenly he started becoming quiet. His teeth were becoming stiff. He could no longer talk. One of his hands were already getting bent. So we were trying to straighten the hand, I was even trying to put my hand inside his mouth, and they took him to the hospital, and they did not come back that night because it was to 12, after 11 to 12 like that on a Thursday. Then took him to the hospital. I was alone that night with my younger ones, trying to make them calm because they did not see him at that state. He was rushed to the hospital. And then when I called, my mom was calm. She's always calm even when things are going wrong. The hospital was full, government hospital. So they stayed there almost throughout the night. They did not attend to them. There was no bed. He was sitting on a mat, I think. And they had to take him to another hospital. So I got to the hospital the following day. That night I couldn't even sleep because my elder ones, they were calling. There was no rest. I called those people, the people I could call in school, my fellowship member in school, so those at home, my spiritual mother, her family. These people should pray. I don't know. I know my dad can fall sick sometimes like that, ulcer attack, BP, but that one, yes, was different. So they were praying, checking up on me. I was trying to make my younger ones calm. I didn't want them to panic. Yeah. And then I got to AKTH because that was the place they took him to. The second hospital or the third hospital they took him to. Okay. The first, there was no space, and I guess they said they couldn't handle his situation. The second hospital was full. Wow. So they had to take him to the third hospital. That's AKTH, Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital. And it still took time.
So he had stayed more than 6 hours.
More than 6 hours because throughout the night. And before I got to the hospital, it was like around 10 a.m. because I had to cook. And I had to cook and take to the hospital.
So it means there was no first aid, no emergency treatment, nothing. They just left him like
that. They just left him like that.
Hospitals need to do better.
They just left him. So I went to meet them at that hospital. And she was with a friend of mine. They were together when I got there. Because when I called, "How is he doing?" She said, "He's fine." I asked my friend, "How is he doing?" "He's fine." When I got there, it took a while for them to come out. They said he's inside, and I was scared. I was scared at what I'd see. I was not sure if I was ready to see him. I didn't know what was wrong. And they told me he was paralyzed on one side. I said, "All right, paralyzed, that's fine." And later on, they told me he could not talk.
So he had a stroke?
Yes. My dad is someone that is he was very jovial. He's a jovial person. If he's coming back from work, before he comes inside, everybody on the road that have greeted greet this one, greet that one. So he talks. He's the one that talks more in the house. So hearing that person cannot talk, it hit differently. It was painful. And my dad is very hot. When he shouts here,
Take over.
everybody will just find where to sit down. So that kind of agile person, nobody wants to get into trouble with him.
Yeah.
And when I got to see him sitting in a wheelchair, it was something I wasn't sure I would be able to handle because I've never seen him like that before. And seeing that my mom was...
It's okay.
My mom just lost her brother, her younger brother for that matter, coming home to that kind of situation.
Yeah.
So I took a picture of him and I sent it to my sister. I told her that the father's case is serious. Yeah. We have to take him to a private hospital.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
That was when we took him to a private hospital. Before we even got to a private hospital, we went to different hospitals, like 2 more hospitals, and it's either they couldn't take care of the case, there's no bed, and this man could not sit. He was just there. He couldn't sit well. He was bending, and see him like that was very difficult. It was very, very difficult. And I was trying not to cry before him so that he wouldn't feel bad. So we took him to another hospital, a private hospital, and that was when
the 4th hospital
or 5th. Yes. I've forgotten the name of the hospital we took him to from AKTH. Okay. And they did not even allow us to come out. They just told us that that there was no space. I can't remember what they said. So we had to take him to international clinic. And I was supposed to start my SciWes. That's level 3 second semester for a science student. You should be doing your SciWes. So we got to that hospital. He was admitted and he was there for, I think, 5 days or so. 5 days. Those few days was hell for me. I was like the first child, though not the first, but I was the eldest.
Older siblings
yes, some are married and one is in Lagos. Everybody was busy. And they were calling. This one is calling, that one is calling, this one is calling. Trying to make my sibling, my younger one, stable, that he's fine, trying to know where they'll stay, because they couldn't stay at home alone. So I'll go to the hospital. My mom she's someone that hardly cries. My mom can stay a year and I will not see her cry. Wow. My dad is the soft one that can cry over a movie. Can watch a movie and cry. Wow. So my mom is not. So the fact that she was not even crying was something that was disturbing me because she had gone through a lot just within a few weeks.
Yeah.
And then she was in the hospital. I had to care for her as well. Not just my dad, because most of the time she forgets to eat. She forgets that she's supposed to eat. Yes, she was looking after him. So I'll go home, check on my siblings, come back to the hospital, go back home. And these people kept calling. Yeah. Someone was saying, let's take him to a herbalist, that it's not a medical issue. We should go local. This one is saying, let's bring him back to the village. This one is saying, let him stay in the hospital. And they were all calling me. Nobody was asking, how are you? Yeah. How are you coping? How are you handling this? They were all, it was shocking. And coming to see him like that, it was somehow.
It was overwhelming.
Yes.
And to deal with.
That day, I told my mom, that's the following day on Friday. I told her to go back home so she could go and take her bath, change, and maybe come back.
Yeah.
So when she left, it was just me with my dad in the hospital and a friend or two, I guess.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he wanted that day. And he was trying to explain to me what he wanted. And he was demonstrating and demonstrating. I didn't know what he wanted to say.
Take your time. It's okay.
I took water. He didn't want water. Was it food? He didn't want food. Do you want to eat yourself? Because he could hear me.
Okay.
And he just got tired and he shook his head and he just lay back.
Mm.
It was overwhelming because I didn't know what was going through his mind at that time as well, seeing that he could not talk, he couldn't help himself. And my dad is someone that wants to do things for himself. He's not someone that wants the whole attention to be him. He wants to help, he wants to do things for himself. And seeing that he was putting everyone in that situation.
Because he was helpless.
Yes. And the hospital wanted his BP to be stable before they started treating him. But his BP couldn't go down couldn't be stable because maybe he was thinking at that state. So we were still trying to make him happy so that he'll be fine. And I was trying my best to be fine around him. Yeah. And when my mom came back, funny enough, she understood what he wanted.
My husband.
And she said he's hungry, but he cannot eat this. So I had to go and look for what he was going to eat. I had to go home. I had to take care of my younger ones, come back. And one of my uncles came from Kaduna. Yeah. And they told us to go for a brain scan.
Okay.
And that hospital doesn't have the equipment, the machine needed for the scan.
There we go.
So we had to take him to another hospital very far from.
Moving him here and there was enough stress.
It was stressful. We had to put him, and my dad has, even with all the sickness, this man did not lose any weight.
Wow.
He was still looking, if you look at his body, he was still looking healthy. So we had to, my uncle and I, we told my mom to stay in the hospital. So we took him with a bus, this hospital ambulance, yes. Took him to the hospital and he was throwing up in the vehicle. He hadn't eaten. I think the last thing he took was mineral that they gave him the previous day. So we had to take him. He was throwing up because the vehicle, motion, yes. If it enters the gallop, it will throw up. So my uncle and I had to be cleaning him up. I was trying to protect him from falling and all of that. And then he got to the hospital, ran the brain scan and all of that. The vocabularies of hospital and medical line. The layman word was English, was that he's paralyzed on his left. Something, his brain, the left
side of his brain.
Yes. And we took him back to the hospital. Bringing him back wasn't easy again. And all of this, they were still calling me. Like, there was no day that passed without me crying at least 3 times.
It was too much for you to
handle. It was too much. How old was I? And I've not gone through. I know that my dad has been sick, that we took him to the hospital. Well, it was not this.
That was different.
Yes, it wasn't that serious. I knew there were times that I had to be strong, but that was different because I was not supposed to be strong at that time.
God gave you grace.
He did.
God gave you grace. I understand how stressful it can be, especially considering the fact that you had older ones.
Yes.
You're in the middle of everything. Having to take care of
everybody, even my mom.
Yes.
Because when I'm thinking of what he will eat, I'm thinking of what she will eat.
Yeah.
I'm checking if my younger ones were fine at home.
Yeah.
because sometimes she forgets to eat, and I'll have to bring food to her and sit down and watch her eat. And my dad was only taking pap. Yes. They wanted to put this pipe through his nostrils, but even with the stroke, he was stubborn. He refused. And they did not give it, they did not put it, we were giving him pap. So I'll have to go home, and from my house to that hospital is almost 20 to 25 minutes, not with leg, with vehicle. So I'll have to go home, prepare something for my mom, come back and go to a friend's house close to the hospital because they have pap always at home.
Okay.
So I have to get pap there and come back. So I decided to be sleeping in the hospital. And there was one day I wanted to get pap for her, and that my friend wasn't around, so I had to buy. So I was going, and calls from my sisters, my brother. This one is shouting like they should do this. I know they were being scared.
Yeah.
They were trying to find solutions for him, but it was affecting me badly. My mom realized that they were not helping, so she just put off her phone and concentrated on her husband. So I was trekking that day, supposed to enter tricycle to go to where I was going to get pap for my dad. And I forgot. I just trekked for like 15 minutes. I was walking.
Wait. You were going back to the hospital?
No, I was already in the hospital.
Okay, you're in the hospital.
Yes,
Where
I
were
was.
you going?
I was going. Okay, for those that don't know, from that hospital, international clinic, I was going to Igbo Road, like Bata side, that Igbo Road side in Bata, and instead of me to enter keke because I was tired and I needed to be fast so that he could eat something, I trekked. I passed Singer. I was going to Bello Road.
What? Opposite.
I was going to Bello Road. I was just walking. I forgot. I was just walking, and it was a vehicle that halted and shouted. That was when I got myself back. And I stood and I looked around, trying to...
Where am
I? And I realized that I've trekked
off route.
Sincerely. I've gone. I was just going. So I had to go back, get keke, and that was when I knew that my mental health is tempered with. So I got the pap and I went back. That was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're moving like that. Every day I'll cry. This one is saying something. I had to go and look for a herbalist in one village that I don't even know. We passed brigade going. I don't know where. I went to Shami and one of my classmates. We went there to look for a herbalist. Had to bring the man to the hospital to see my dad. And it was like he can't treat him from the hospital.
Yeah.
That his case is very serious. Yes. And he can't even treat him from the house.
You have to move into
his house.
Okay, this herbalist now, was he for us to have clarity, we are Christians.
Okay, native.
Okay.
Shall I say
herbal
native?
Doctor.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Because when you say herbalist now, people can start thinking about Ezemo. That is
No, it's not.
okay.
It's this local doctors. Let me use it. Yes, local doctors. So they use herbs and whatever could cure him. And that was what they were used. That was what he said, that will have to bring him to his own house. There's a small room rather, that they keep people that, yes. I got to his house, we saw the place, and I got the guy's number because his dad was not around, but he also do what his dad was doing. So I told him, okay, I'll talk to my elder ones. And my elder ones this one is saying they should take him to the village and get treatment in the village. Somebody we took from hospital to another hospital that was trained up want us to take him from the north to the south.
The distance.
Yes. And you are not the one that will take him. It's the woman that has gone through a lot within 3 weeks. The other one was saying, let them leave him in the hospital because she's considering not just him, my mom, me, and yes. The other one was saying, let us look for herbalists. So when this one is saying this, and when I'm doing that, the other one will be shouting, why am I doing this one? I said you should do this.
You almost lost it. Or did you lose it?
I did. I did. I went on the following, like on Monday.
Yeah.
I took my bath in the hospital and I went for my Cyrus. First day on Cyrus. It was a pharmaceutical company. Okay. Yes, I did my Cyrus in the quality control. That's the lab. And when I got there, I was not okay. Not just that my dad was sick, the mental stress.
Yeah, definitely.
Seeing him like that was something different. I cried so much. I was crying every day, at least 3 times. It was my immediate elder sister that always tries to make me happy. That whenever she calls, I try not to miss her call because she was the only person making me happy. Like helping me to forget, bring me out of that situation. And I just feel light at that moment. I knew that seeing my dad like that would affect my younger ones. Although when they came to the hospital to see him, I begged them not to cry.
Okay.
So when they came to the hospital, that was on Sunday, they came to see him. I tried for them not to stay long there. Because anyone that hears my dad is sick, okay, he has stroke. Oh, but when they see him, this man like this man that we know, he can be like this. They end up crying. So when my younger ones came to, my dad saw them and he started crying.
Oh.
He started crying and it was somehow. So
I can only imagine the things that might have been
going through his mind. Yes, he was crying. He was crying and they just left. And I and my dad, we weren't best of friends. We're not best of friends. So Sunday night, my mom was asleep. I was awake. And I was sitting close to him. I think the only advantage I had was having to be sincerely close to my dad at that time. Yes. There was a time I was crying and he drew me close to himself with his other hand and maybe to lie down on his chest. And for the first time, I felt like there was a connection or there's a relationship between my dad and I. And I was hoping that he would be fine, he would get well, because I believe that he would have been a better person. He would have, yes, if he came out of that. So I believed strongly because we had a lot of people praying. And these were people that I know that their prayer works. So I knew that he was going to come out of it. I did not have
any doubt.
It was just the mental stress. And going through all of that. But I believed so much that he was going to come out of it. So on Monday, I went for Cyrus. And before I could stay 2 hours, I had migraine. That was the first time I had migraine. First of all, everywhere was dark. I thought, okay, it's eye issues, maybe because I've not eaten stress. And I had migraine. I could not open my eyes because the lights, everywhere was affecting me. So I called a friend of mine to come and pick me up from
the hospital.
From the company.
Okay, from
yes, the hospital was close to the company, actually. Okay. Yes, it was close to the company. So I told him to take me back to the hospital. He said he's not taking me back to the hospital. That he's taking me home. I needed rest as well.
You needed rest.
So I went home. I slept for like 30 minutes. And then he left. And my sister, one of my elder sisters, called. Okay. Where are you? They said, Daddy is tired of the hospital. That he wants to go home. Where are you? She started shouting, go to the hospital. I had to take myself with the headache. And I realized that when I stand up, my eye turns, I feel like throwing up. I had to take myself like that. looked for keke, and I went to the hospital. When I was in the keke, I was throwing up. The keke will have to stop.
Oh,
He took only me. He did not take anybody else.
you met a kind
Sincerely,
rider that day.
he'll stop. I'll throw up.
Oh my God.
We'll continue. And I got to the hospital, and they told me that they were home already. A friend of
Okay.
mine.
So on your way to the hospital, you missed each other.
Yes. They told me they were home already, that a friend of mine, because, God bless my friends, they were everywhere.
Yeah.
And they were everywhere. That my classmate, he was there with my dad and my mom. So he helped. Only my mom wouldn't have been able to take him home. My uncle had gone at that time. The other one was coming because the one in Kaduna had to go back to work. So he only came on Friday evening. He had to go on Sunday morning to resume work on Monday. And my uncle in Lagos had to come. He was going to come and take his brother to the village or look for solution. That was what he was going to do. He didn't mind what anybody was saying. He just wanted to find solution for his brother. And that was what he was coming for.
Okay, I'm sorry. Does it mean you did not end up taking him to the local doctor's place?
They were supposed to pay.
Oh,
Right. They were supposed to pay and, discuss within themselves because the wahala was too much.
Yeah.
Everybody had their own opinion, but nobody was there to carry out whatever they were saying. Yeah, so
which is usually the case.
So I had to, when I came back home, they were home already. I laid him on the bed. That was on Monday.
Yeah.
29th, 30th, 31st. It was on Monday, 29th of March. So I felt better because I would not have to go to the hospital, come home, and my sisters wouldn't have to stay with someone. At least they'll be home and everybody will be home. So it was more like he was not getting worse when he was in the hospital. They were giving him drip. And my dad dislikes hospital. If he can stand on his feet, he will leave the hospital.
Sometimes it's a mind thing.
Yes. So it's not about him. It's about the people he's seeing around. He can be feeling pity for this person. He can see this one and start crying. He can see what is wrong with this one. So it's affecting him. Yes. Well. There was one time he was in the hospital like that. And he told them to discharge him. He doesn't want to stay again. He said he had he was overhearing women giving birth in the labor room, their scream and everything. So he said he wanted to come back home. So he came back home and we had to look for another local
hospital.
No, a herbalist, a local doctor. Permits me to use that one. Local doctor. So that I said, since he's not very fine, he was already running temperature. Since he has been lying down, he usually feels this headache when you try to raise him up and all of that. So I told them, let him be stable a bit before we can take him that far for treatment. So we looked for another herbalist around, and that one started treating him, saying that he was supposed to defecate. And that will help him and all those their stories. And my elder sister came. She now went to get medicine for him that was going to help. Everybody was just doing what they wanted to do.
They knew best to do.
Yes. And she got medicine. And I was still sick, but nobody was paying attention to me.
Nobody was the focus.
Yes, I was still sick. I was feeling this not as serious as, but I knew that I wasn't fine. In 1 week, I had lost weight. I was looking old.
Whoa.
There
are pictures.
My hair. Pictures. I don't think I do.
You know why I said, this is sorry to digress.
Yeah.
I know you're a slim person. So for you to have lost weight.
I wasn't like, when I finished my exam, there was one picture I took. I should have that picture. I know that I'm slim, but I was chubby. When I saw the picture, I was like, if I go home and tell these people that the exam was stressful, they will not believe me. I tell them that it's Gary that I've been drinking. They'll know, how will I be this fat going home? Because I was chubby. The clothes I was wearing, I was like, So I get body like this and I write almost 13 papers.
Wow.
Who would have believed that the clothes, the gowns I used to wear,
Yeah.
pencil gowns, I know that they
Yeah,
they
body
hold my,
hugging.
yes. But when I wear it like this, to just enter my body like that and you see
Wow.
space, I was like, even my hair,
You lost some
yes,
emotional stress, the mental stress.
affected my hair.
Physical.
My front hair cut.
Wow.
My hair was so scanty. It was that bad. And then when we got home, at least I'm at home now. I couldn't go for COS. The woman said I should take my time, I should be fine, because she knew that my dad was sick and it was affecting me. So he was at home first day, second day. Then I asked my mom, have this man eaten? Say he's refusing to eat. Ha. So because he refused to eat, people leave him like that. I was like, no, he has to eat. He can't be taking medicine and not eat.
Yeah.
So I don't know if my elder sister was scared of holding him or she didn't have the mind to. Well, I don't know where I got my mind from. I picked him up and there was this groaning he was making whenever you're trying to lift him, because he was already having neck pain.
Definitely.
He was having head pain. His vein here was already swelling. So I have to lift him up. And we all surround him, like assuring him that everything will be fine. We are all here. We're fine. And I fed him on Tuesday afternoon. And he was crying. He was shedding tears. I knew that there was a lot he would have wanted to say, but he couldn't.
Also coupled with the pain.
The pain, yes. And my dad being in a place.
Yeah. Frustrating.
Seeing his children, knowing that he might not be able to take care of them. I knew a lot was going through his mind at that time. But we were trying to assure him that just so his BP will be stable.
Stable, yeah. You have to give him all this support.
Yeah. So I fed him the first afternoon. In the evening too. That evening he ate.
Okay.
But then he was crying. I don't know why he was crying, and I was trying to tell him, don't cry. Everything will be fine. We are here. Your first daughter is here. Look at her. And your son is coming. That my other brother is coming. And then on Wednesday, early in the morning, like 5, I was hearing his breath because his room is opposite ours.
Okay.
I was hearing his breath high. I went to it myself. I heard my mom and my eldest sister. They were talking in the room. I needed to sleep.
Yeah.
So I just went back to sleep. By 6:30 or so, later on, I stopped hearing that high breath. So they felt, okay, maybe he's having a peaceful sleep. Just for my younger sister to come and wake me up. Because anything that happens, they'll come and tell me. And she called me and said, Daddy's not breathing again. And I laughed. I went inside the room. My mom and my other sister was there. And my other sister told me, Daddy's not breathing again. And it would just look like he was sleeping. I tapped him. I shook him. He did not move. I said, no. I told my younger sister, go and get a nurse. He had a pharmacy.
Okay.
Go and get. Before she came back, a neighbor came to get something. My mom sells, so she came to buy something. So we said, hey, come and check this man. And we knew her from our former neighborhood, and she was a neighbor. So we have known her many years. She knows my dad. So when she came and checked, the woman could not say anything. She was just doing, she was just breathing and humming. Madam, what is it? She did not say anything. She got what she wanted to get. She did not go. She was staying there. My sister had to go to where she was teaching, my younger sister, to get this stethoscope.
Okay.
To check, because we could not believe that.
He was gone.
If you know my dad, you will not believe that death can take them.
He was a fighter.
If this man shouts, you hear his voice outside. He's everybody's, like, the neighbors likes him. He's very jovial. He's up and doing. He's very disciplined. And then when the nurse came, he said, he's dead. He's a Muslim. Ayarasu, he's dead.
Straight
I'll
up.
take aside Selman. Don't die now. And I was like, die. Like, no, this is death staring at us. Like, it has happened. It was still difficult to believe. And I called my friends. I could not even tell them that he was dead. They said my dad is not breathing again. You people should come. And before 1 hour, 45 minutes, they were there already. This is before 8. Before 7:30.
It's important to have good friends.
No, if you don't have good friends, if you don't have a friend,
You don't have a friend.
a good friend,
Genuine friends.
no, that is better than money.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how my mom and I would have handled my dad. I know relatives came, but they came and they left. But these ones, if this one is around, before this one is going, this one is coming. Some of them stayed with me in the hospital, stayed through the night.
God bless you.
Yes, sincerely, God bless them. They had to stay with me. And imagine, before I went back to the hospital, somebody had already, I didn't even know that I was with my mom in the hospital. I did not know. I didn't know he was with my mom. I just saw him in my house. He was already there with my mom and my dad. So they came around, they prayed, and he was gone. So they told everybody to leave the room. They left the room, told my mom to leave. Neighbors were already coming, and I stayed in the room. He was lying like this. I laid over his head and I placed my hands on his chest, hoping that maybe his heart will beat. Maybe something just went wrong and he'll be fine. Because he was not really cold. Because I know that if somebody dies, maybe the person gets cold. Yes. He was still warm. And I don't know if it was my mind. I was feeling like it was moving. But I think it was my mind. So I placed my hand on his chest. And I was there from around 7 till 8:30. And the rooms were locked. Nobody knew that anybody was inside.
They thought you had left as well.
Yes. Because everywhere was crowded. My friends were there. My younger one's friends were there. The neighbors were there. Relatives were already there. Family, friends. So I might be just inside the crowd. They did not know that I was still inside the room. And it was cold. The room was becoming very cold. And I was still there.
You get mine,
It's my dad.
Yeah.
And then I knew that, I actually loved this man. And I was there waiting for his heart to beat until one of his hands that were on his tummy, I now wanted to stretch it, and I realized that it was already stiff. That's when I knew that, okay,
Reality dawned on you.
this man is actually dead. And I tried stretching his hand, and it was as if I was breaking his bones. And that was when I left the room. The woman was like, "What do they do with dead body for inside room?"
God, from daddy to dead body. Life.
And they took him to the hospital after prayers and faith and everything. They took him to the hospital to actually get a medical confirmation. I still had faith though. Got to the hospital and they confirmed that he was dead. And they took him to the mortuary. I never thought that I would lose my dad that year. I never thought that I would come back from school to handle my father's loss. It was...
Nothing prepares you for...
He was not... That's it. And the sickness was just for 5 days. Fell sick on Thursday. He died on Wednesday. Yes.
Wait, he fell ill on Friday,
On Thursday night.
and then died on
On the
Wednesday.
following 7 days.
And it sounded like it took months.
That's 7
so I
days
can only
was
imagine that period might have taken forever.
forever.
Wow.
Those days took a lot from me. I was stressed. My mental health was. I was already depreciating. I felt sick many times after that death. I can't say I've actually recovered my body.
So afterwards, how did the burial go?
That one is
Because we know some culture,
a lot. He's the first son of his family, of his parents.
Yeah.
He's a grandfather because my eldest sister has 3 children, so the burial has to be big. Thank God for my uncles. Actually, yes, my paternal uncles, they are good people.
Okay.
They don't this Nigerian uncles mentality. No, they are not like that.
Finally,
I really appreciate God for that, because my uncle did not only think about the burial, he thought about us after the burial.
Amazing.
Yes, because my mom wasn't doing a very big business.
Yeah.
Just had a petty. I wasn't working.
Yeah.
I was still in school. I was the only one in school. My younger sister, although now in level 3, she hadn't even got admission by then. She got admission after my dad's burial. So he knew that there was a lot. The other one was preparing for WAEC.
Yeah.
And according to them, all his children must be around for his burial.
Yeah.
So
demands this, tradition demands that.
After he died, they took him to the village, to Delta State, not the village precisely. Okay. They took him there, took him to the mortuary there. So his community is meeting people, this local government meeting. They contributed money because I think that is their own duty, responsibility. Okay. They took him to the village, a town that has mortuary. Okay. Just that day. I think the following day they took him. Okay. So his body was in Delta. The whole preparation, this one said this, that one said it was part 2. My mom doesn't have to go out. She has to be at home because her husband is still in the mortuary. Nobody should see her outside. She has to tie her hair. She has to do this. This woman just lost her brother.
Okay, this tradition thing, this process of burial and all that is a topic entirely on its own.
It is.
That we need to address.
It is. It is.
After that, how did you process your daddy's death? How did you, we can't say, no one really, how do they put
comes out
of these things, just like that. So it takes a while. So how did you process the death? How did your mom, how did she cope with
my mom?
Him?
It was hard for her because my dad was more like the center of everything. Yes. Even to us. He's somebody that, even though he's too disciplined, very strict, very stern, he was just part of everything. So when he died, we actually realized that, wait, this man is actually part. Birthday. There's not part of our life we get to talk about that you will not hear daddy.
Wow.
There was one time a friend of mine in school asked me if my mom was late. I said, no, my mom is very much alive. Said, I don't talk about my mom. Do I talk about my dad? Say, actually, all of us, we talk more about our dad because he's everywhere. He's everywhere. If you go out, there was one time I even went out. I knew that I was expecting a call. It was past 6 to 7. I just knew that something was not right. And I remembered, my dad. I always said that this one daddy have not called me.
My God.
And I remembered. And I called my mom and I was angry. I went out. And then when he called, I'll be angry that this one is not giving me breathing space. I was angry. I went out since morning, came back by 7. You no one call. What if I was kidnapped and all of that?
Oh my.
It was like, I know where you went to now. So why do I have to bother? It was something we're used to. Everybody's birthday. My birthday that month, that year, October. It was sad. Because my dad would sing your birthday from the first day of that month.
Wow.
They will sing it until that day. And birthdays are special in my house. Birthdays are very special. Even till now, it's in fact when I hear someone say, "I don't know my younger brother's birthday or my siblings," birthday, I'll be like, it's strange to me because it's not like that in my house. It's not like that in my house. And even to our last born, if the elder one forgets to call that, the way my dad takes it very serious, like you committed a taboo. So it was hard because everything was part of
around.
everything. I felt naked after the burial, because before the burial, still felt like maybe he will come back. Like we were not still, yes. So we went for that burial. We saw him laid to rest, and we came back without him. I felt it was like somebody would just come in the night and harm us. I felt like there's this roof that was taken away. Yes, I felt naked. And my younger one was now, "Are you feeling like this?" I said, so everybody was feeling that way. It was hard. We felt like that, but God comforted us. I will not deny that fact, that God actually comforted us, because we did not struggle, and we are not struggling. I know it was hard because the only person we knew how to ask for things is my dad. He always used to complain. People don't ask other people, ask your siblings, ask your elder ones. It's only even my mom. I didn't know how to ask anything from my mom. It was my dad. Anything I want, my dad. It was only him. So knowing that he wasn't there, it was very difficult to learn to ask. That was a problem. It was difficult.
So 3 years down the line, right?
3 or 4 years 3 years, 2021 down to 2024.
So 3 years.
But
now, how is Mercy doing? What do you look back and weep over the times that you didn't really enjoy? I mean, like you said, he was a disciplinarian. Do you weep over those times, or you look back, remember, see the good memories that you created, you shared, and thank God for those? Because sometimes we just dwell in the pains, the sorrow, or the fact that we're not close, like you said. So 3 years down the line, what do you reflect on? What are your reflections of him?
The good things, the times that he had to discipline us a lot. Yes,
Will
because
you say it made you a better person?
Two sides. Okay. Well, it did make me a better person, because I believe that those teachings is still with us. Okay. Even my other ones. Okay. Although they were negative parts, because he did it too much, he overdid it. Yeah. But there were good parts of it. We are 6 girls, a boy. All my younger ones are girls. So some of them think, when this man dies, the mother is not very hard, like they will misbehave. Yeah. It wasn't so. There are times that I will feel like we all had that. I don't know if it's fear now or call it or discipline, that you can't even misbehave when he's not there. It even made us more scared, because we feel now he's immortal. He's everywhere.
He's everywhere.
So sometimes my elder sister say, "We do this thing," they look you. You would try it. Like, the discipline was there, and I knew that he wanted us to be good. Yeah. There were things he wanted us to achieve, and I hold on to that and run with it.
Awesome.
Yes, and God has been faithful.
Amen.
I actually wished he survived it, because I knew he would have been better. I believe, with what I saw when he was sick, I believe that he would have been better.
But God knows best.
Yes, God knows best.
God knows best.
Yes.
Wow, it's been an amazing time having this conversation with you.
Thank you
for being vulnerable.
Thank you.
So it goes to say that just because we sit here to, interview other people, hear their stories, get them to share their lives with you, doesn't mean we haven't been through what you might be going through or what you might have been through. We all have our experiences as well. But some of the takeaways from this story is have good friends. it's important to surround yourself with good people, and you as a person be a good person. And when you're experiencing pain and loss, do not lose your humanity. Do not give up. She said she had faith that even at the time his body was taken home for burial, she still believed that he will come back. But even at that, if it doesn't happen, you don't put God in your black book and get upset. You just still thank God for the memories you might have shared. Yes, you might have had issues, you might not have had good relationship, but focus more on the intention of the person, focus more on the good memories you have created, and know that God has got you. We will go through life, we experience things, but let us always remember that it pays to be human, it pays to be good. And if you have people going through situations like this, it's important that you show up for them as well. Mercy, you want to say thank you.
Yeah.
Really
I'd say
appreciate
I
you.
would love to say something to
Okay,
the
please go ahead.
audience. All right. When you get to lose someone, do not act all strong.
Yeah.
It can affect you badly and you wouldn't know how much that is affecting you. You have people around you, good people. You can be vulnerable around them. It's nothing wrong.
Yeah, it's not wrong.
And face it with time, because I got to realize that I faced the fact that my dad was died, but I couldn't face that part of him being sick. I always snapped out of it. I didn't want to remember it. And I realized that it was one thing I was locking up. Yeah, so learn to face it. And I don't know if this will be harsh, but I don't think there's any situation that should make us separate from God.
Yeah.
I don't think there is any situation. I asked God questions. I was angry. I felt bad. Human.
Yeah.
But I cannot leave God because He's all I've got. He gave us joy. When some people came around, they were like, are you sure it's these people that lost their dad? We felt the pain, but the joy was still there. The joy was still there. We did not lose our joy. We were not depressed.
Yeah.
And God saw us through. And He's still seeing us through. So there is no reason. I know that we go through a lot of things. A lot. Even worse than this. But there's no reason or nothing we should go through that should make us separate from God, because He's the only person that we can run back to.
True.
Yeah.
With that said, I want to say thank you for being with us, for staying with us. God bless you. If you haven't subscribed yet, I don't know what you're still doing. Please subscribe, share, click on the notification bell, and share with us your thoughts in the comment section. God bless you. See you some other time.
Bye.
Bye.